great. Move that over there. Okay, perfect. And okay, we are live. Aloha Manga Club, it is your boy Lohili signing in on this early Saturday morning, and today we are joined by special guests Neon+Nova, Dustin and Megan, and obviously Mr. Jin Graves. So, Dustin, Megan, how are you doing today?
We are doing good. How's everybody doing? Like you said, it's a early Saturday morning, but we're excited to be here.
Yeah.
And we are excited to have you on. Jin, how are you doing?
As always, I'm doing good.
Always. As always. That's good.
As always.
Always.
So today on the Manga Club podcast, we are actually going to be discussing manga collections, anime, and filmmaking with Neon+Nova. So to get this ball rolling, tell us a little bit about yourself, guys. Like what?
Yeah. So we are we're a couple. We've been together for 12 years now. We've been creating pretty much the entire time. We were actually creating things together before we started dating. That's kind of what kept us together 24/7. And so we were like, should we just like make this thing official or something? Like, should we just like, so we don't have to leave and go to separate places? But yeah,
I think it might have been a little more than that.
Yeah, a little bit more than that. But yeah, we've been creating together for 12 years. We both have this like passion for filmmaking and storytelling, and obviously like we have a passion for anime, manga, movies, and all of this stuff. And so we just try to be as creative as possible and have as much fun as we can. And yeah, that's us.
Yeah, that's it.
That is awesome. So how did you guys start creating? Like, what really brought filmmaking? Because that's something that I really find quite cool, is the idea of filmmaking. So what part of it do you guys do?
We are writers, directors,
producers.
You do a lot of producing.
Yeah.
We're also freelance editors in our free time, and it's just a lot of it. We tried to learn as much as possible. Megan went to school for photography, for fashion photography, and I went to school for film. But we just were like, let's make stuff together. You started producing.
Yeah.
And then we realized that we were just both directing.
I mean, you've always known. Dustin's always known he's wanted to be like a filmmaker, director. I was always just doing creative things. Like I have a very artistic family. My brother's a musician. So like I always was in like the creative arts, whether it was like cooking or theater or photography. Kitty.
Smokey.
And so then, you know, Dustin and I met and he talked about filmmaking and I was like, oh, I've like never really gotten into it, and it just like all went from there.
Yeah, we were originally just two kids at work bored and talking about all the things we'd rather be doing.
Yeah, basically.
And it just kind of spiraled from there, basically.
Yeah.
So.
And here we are talking on a podcast.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Jin and I are 100% producers and directors and all of that stuff.
Hey, in your own right, totally.
I mean, technically speaking, I do all of it on the channel. So does Jin. We both provide all of this. So how did you both start, either with manga or anime? Like, what brought that about, and then what kind of brought that resurgence of it back into your lives?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I know for you, Sailor Moon has been a huge aspect of your life ever since you were
since
young.
I was like really young. I mean, Sailor Moon was the first anime I ever saw on Toonami.
Yeah, I mean, we're children of the Toonami era, right?
So, I mean, I got into anime really, really young, and instantly, as soon as I saw Sailor Moon, I wanted anything that had to do with it. So that included manga. At that time, it was like not easy to find manga. Like it was a little bitty section at Barnes and Nobles that I could go into and be like, okay, I'm going to take as many as I can. It didn't even matter if it was in order. I just wanted all of them. And yeah, I just really loved it. And so that kind of introduced me into that whole world. And then as I got into high school, other things like started coming into my life, and I like kind of like lost watching anime and reading manga, and I just got distracted by it. And I think recently we've been like, why haven't we been reading manga again? And like we still like watch anime a lot, but not as much as we did. And so we just wanted to like get back into those things that we really loved. Like those are things that we liked a lot that we just kind of lost the time to be able to experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was young, my grandmother my grandmother was a huge Godzilla freak. And she just loved Godzilla. And so she introduced me to Godzilla at a very young age. And then from there, I was introduced. I kind of have like this story that I always tell people about how I got the Toei version of The Little Mermaid. And so when I was in school, everybody was talking about The Little Mermaid, and I was watching the Japanese anime version of The Little Mermaid where she dies. And I was very confused about what they were talking about because I was like, there's no singing crabs.
She's not a redhead.
Yeah, she's not a redhead. I'm so confused as to what y'all are talking about. And so I had like little things like that. Like I had the Little Mermaid, and then I had like a weird off-brand like Jungle Book and things like that. And then of course Toonami came about, and I was introduced to so much more through that. And then I just started doing my own research on it. And for a long time, like I was really into the anime scene very heavy. And then film school came around, and you have to focus on movies like 24/7 for that.
Yeah.
And then once all of that was done, we started just getting back into these things that interest us. And I think we realized with manga most recently is like, there's just so many different types of stories there, and there's so many outlets of inspiration that we can pull from there.
Yeah.
That we were like, this is a great resource to tap into as storytellers to try to find, new voices and new ideas and new concepts to talk about. So it's been a really great source of inspiration for us.
Which kind of leads me into my actual next question that I just totally made up. Because, well, you touched on it almost perfectly right there. Manga and anime is a great inspiration, but are there some things that kind of make it harder for a manga story to be translated into the live action form? I mean, we've seen a lot of failures. I'm talking Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Dragon Ball Evolution, the other ones that should not even be named. But we've also seen some successes. Rurouni Kenshin. I'm hoping that I'm crossing my fingers for the live action of Kingdom. What makes one harder to do than another?
I mean, we were recently talking about like they've announced that they're going to try to remake Your Name. And Your Name, I mean, on the anime level is kind of a simple story, but anime kind of always, in manga too, always kind of have this like very unique twist on them that just never translates fully into live action and it's something that I think American audiences struggle with to some degree too. And I don't know, the filmmakers always try to put their own spin on it, and it's just always it's definitely been a struggle.
And I think that's part of it too, is that like a lot of American filmmakers, they try to put like their spin on it, and I think sometimes that's where it can lose like that anime feeling. Like I don't know how to describe that feeling that anime has or manga has, but like it has a certain feeling to it that is different from the stuff that we make here. And so it loses that sometimes. I think it's really hard to translate it over to live action.
And like you mentioned like Rurouni Kenshin and stuff, and those are still like productions in Japan, and I think that they try to stay on that like source material as closely as they can. And then Hollywood on the opposite side is like, well, maybe we should make it Neo New York instead of Neo Tokyo. And then you start getting into all these problems.
And I think for us too, that's why like we try to be more like, we try to more get inspiration from like anime and manga and create new stories from the inspiration versus trying to like directly pull something from.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And actually, I think this is going to sound... You got something, Jen?
Yeah. So how many problems do you guys think it would fix if right at the beginning of a film that the person put inspired by, like whatever it was, instead of saying this is based off of, like just that word choice, I feel like would fix a lot of different things.
I think so.
Totally. I mean, you have like Darren Aronofsky, who constantly pulls inspiration from, Perfect Blue.
Well, that was the big thing, though, is that he didn't really say at first that it was inspiration,
and he should have just been upfront.
And he should have been upfront about it. Like, I think putting inspired by is like, why not? Like, why wouldn't you say that?
Definitely, because he used parts of it for Requiem for a Dream, and then of course, what is it called? Black Swan is. I mean, it's basically Perfect Blue. Translated for us, So I think like using the inspired by would be such a better tool than trying to just adapt straightforward. And I mean, you even see Paprika and Interstellar, or not Interstellar, Inception, are so similar. But Christopher Nolan has been very open about like, yeah, I totally used Paprika for
Yeah.
inspiration, and I think that would help out a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so awesome. So, do you think there's a kind of director that would be able to take manga in one form to that level where it's an actual good adaptation? Like, is there one style director? Like, I have an opinion, but I want to hear your guys' first to make sure that I'm not completely wrong.
Somebody?
I mean, I really liked what Christopher Nolan did with Inception, but he was using that as inspiration. When he started working on his production of Akira, he started changing a lot of things, and I was like really worried about the direction that he was going to take that film, and then production was halted on that, and it got dropped because I think he was just changing so much of it. James Cameron with Alita, he produced Alita, and then Robert Rodriguez directed it. That's been one of the kind of closest adaptations I've seen there. I'm like, okay, they're starting to get things right. It wasn't perfect.
I liked that one a lot.
But it was fun, and you could put aside some things for the sake of like you can see where they're trying to make the film. I think his production would be awesome. I would love to see if Ridley Scott would cast Japanese actors. I would love to see what Ridley Scott could do, just because of what he's done with Blade Runner and Alien and the worlds that he's been able to build. I think would be incredible. But in the past, he's been like, well, I cast, for money. And so it's a problem in that direction. But
I mean, I really was excited about Taika
Waititi with Akira.
Yeah, and I was really excited to see like what he could have brought to that, because I feel like he could have like adapted it well, and he really wanted to try to stay as close to the story as he could, and that's kind of why it's been halted again. So I mean, I'm kind of bummed that happened, because I was excited to see like
he seemed like someone who could probably
I feel
do it
like
right.
he could have done it right. Yeah.
Totally. My only concern for Waititi would have been he does throw a lot of humor and comedy into his thing, and while Akira does have a few instances of humor of levity, it's probably a better way to say it. I'm not sure if his artistic style, because he also does that surreal kind of style. I mean, with his vampire one, I can never remember the name of it.
In the Shadows.
Yes, thank you. And Thor Ragnarok, he uses a lot of the same style of humor to create these movies, and I'm not sure if I think visually it would have been very, very, very good, but I'm not sure if tonal wise it would have been what I would have hoped for an Akira movie.
That was our biggest concern when we talked about it, was just like, is he going to try to work in the humor the way
can he set it aside
for his others, or can he set it aside, or can he use it like minimally for those like moments that it needs it, and then like set it aside?
But I think visually, I think you would have nailed it. But yeah, we had the same concerns as you. Is like, where's that humor gonna go?
Where's that Waititi joke going to be? Where's Korg? Where's my Korg?
Yeah, exactly. Is he gonna put himself in the movie somewhere? Like, what's gonna happen?
He probably would have been one of the homeless bandage drifters that's underneath the,
probably
the priestess. But for me, I don't have a specific director who I think could do a great job, because each person would do a different story a different way. But I think that horror directors would actually do an amazing job at adapting manga, because for me, and again, I don't watch a lot of horror, but I do watch a lot of videos talking about the direction of horror movies and all of that. They have this understanding of the visceral idea of the human condition, and that is a lot of what manga and anime really follows, is this just visceral journey of a human. And so I think if you gave the reins to a horror director, they'd be able to go, they'd throw in some of their own touches, obviously, but they understand the human condition enough that I think they could relate very, very well to that idea of a manga adaptation to anime. And actually, Ridley Scott's a great example, because he created one of the most popular horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
Speaking of horror movies, it would be really cool to see like Pony Smasher.
Like David Sandberg. Yeah.
To do one. I think, that's actually...
It could be really cool. I mean, James Wan, he's done a lot with like The Conjuring and that whole universe, and so he might be someone cool that could produce like a really cool anime manga spin-off universe or something like that. That would be awesome. I think you're right, horror could be really good.
And what about you, Jin? Do you think there's any kind of director that could do it a great job? Steven Spielberg.
Neon.
Um,
I think probably because I mean I've watched almost all of y'all's short films and whatnot. I mean I feel like a lot of the stuff that y'all want actually comes through on most of those. And I mean I love the style that you guys direct in.
Thanks.
Thanks.
You know, here and there. I mean, you know, and that's kind of I love that the whole thing of being able to like not have movies and TV shows like on the back burner now, because it seems like in the community it's always got to be about manga, but then it's like, what about all this other stuff over here? Like this is another hobby and everybody enjoys it, but nobody wants to talk about it. So
Yeah.
there's so much going on in the movie and film world that it's insane. And
Yeah.
you know, we're trying to take things that are animated and make them live action, which leads me to my first community question. And this is from Prete. What is your thoughts on the new Lion King?
Okay.
Ooh, here we go. Knew it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I have not seen the full film yet, but
No,
I have seen
I
some
haven't.
scenes and some comparison scenes. I will say that I really respect Jon Favreau as a director. I really like what he's done. I mean, he gave us Iron Man, which led to the cinematic universe, so we have to, you know, respect for that. But I do think there's so much beauty and so much emotion in those drawn characters of Lion King, and the color palette for Lion King, the animated, like the original Lion King, is just so beautiful with
It's really
the
beautiful.
oranges and the blues. And this one is just kind of, it's very muddy looking. It's very brown and
It
green.
all kind of blends in, and like watching some of the side by side comparisons of scenes.
Yeah,
It's like, I mean, you just can't. I don't feel like they could put all of the emotion that you can into a drawing. Like the actual lion face, like it just doesn't express emotion
as
the same way.
Yeah,
So I think that was something that I immediately noticed. I was like, I just don't feel like it has that
it's
impact
as expressive.
as expressive and as impactful as the animated one was.
They don't have eyebrows.
Yeah.
I mean, when you lose the eyebrows, you lose a lot of emotion.
Eyebrows are super important, by the way.
Yeah,
they
totally
really
important.
are.
And I mean, we watched the Hakuna Matata scene side by side, and
they
it's
just
full
can't
of
do
jump
as
cuts,
much.
and they're jumping into the water and jumping across vines and stuff. And then in the Jon Favreau, the recent one, it's more of them just walking and singing.
I mean, I definitely want to see it so that I can just experience it and be able to have like a full opinion on it. Because, like I said, I mean, we've only seen like the side by side comparison, not having like the full impact of the full movie. It's hard to like say like we
Definitively,
like it. Definitively, we like it or we don't like it. So I definitely want to see it, but I just, as of right now, I don't have high hopes.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's one of those things where there's a version for all the people who saw it originally, and then this is the version for the next generation.
Yeah, and I think that's
and so
okay.
we each have our own version, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But I think when you're comparing them, like, I think everybody should see both, definitely, so they can.
Sorry. See
Oh,
both.
no. Yeah, see both, just so you can compare and you can kind of see, like, okay, like, oh yeah, CGI is an amazing, beautiful tool, and we can get this photorealism, and that's great. But expressive art, wow,
Yeah.
like that could be beautiful too. So
Yeah.
different takes.
I'm hesitant to watch it just because I don't know. I don't want to possibly muddy the previous story with the new one, which
Right.
is again something that people tend to do. My biggest problem though comes from there's only two voices that I think that they should not have touched because they were dead on perfect. For me, James Earl Jones and Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, I know. Jeremy Irons should have been in this movie.
And I understand the reasoning for doing it. You wanted to get as much of a black cast as possible, but then you get, Seth Rogen
yeah,
in the cast. I'm like, you guys, come on.
yeah. Jeremy
can't-
Irons was Scar.
I was like, throw Seth Rogen away, get somebody else, and just keep Jeremy Irons and keep, James Earl Jones. These are the two most iconic voices because when you hear them, they're just one is soothing, one is intimidating, and they work very, very well together.
Yeah.
And it's
100% agree.
And while I don't think the new, I can never say the actor's name who got the scar. I don't think his voice is bad. It's just not what I want, not what I need from my Scar. I want him to be British.
It was just so menacing. Yeah, it was just so menacing.
So that was, I don't know. And
Yeah.
I'm just so excited. I'm so excited for the new round of movies
I don't
that are
know,
coming out.
because a lot of people don't talk about it either, but I feel like the animal change of it was a lot better too. So you had the Jungle Book, which, that one was a pretty close adaptation I liked. But then whenever on Netflix they had their Mowgli movie come out, I felt like Mowgli was a lot better compared to the Jungle Book live action one, just because of how much they actually got into it. Like, you didn't just have this lion as close, or a tiger as close to a tiger. Like, he actually looked like this Oni face, like it could express, emotion, all this other stuff. And I think that was the more intimidating part, because on that Shere Khan, I was like, whoa, like this guy is really scary. But in the other one, it was kind of like,
Yeah.
he's just a tiger out there,
He's just a tiger out there.
yeah. Like, he wants his own like space. I understand that, but it didn't seem like he was like evil or whatever. He was just kind of animalistic.
He was just a
Right.
tiger doing tiger things for tiger reasons. He's very nice, actually. If you invite him over for tea, he's there right away.
Yeah, totally. But I think, Jen, like that's the genius of like Andy Serkis, who has had years and years and years behind the motion capture. And he just knows how to get those expressions down and those faces.
Yeah.
And so he was like, let's twist the animals' faces just a little bit to make them expressive in a way that they wouldn't be naturally.
Yeah.
And so I think you're totally right. Like, he got so much more expression out of those characters than the Jungle Book, that Disney released.
Yeah. Which, talking about majors and stuff like that, like mine is psychology, and we actually had to do a study on that of quote unquote the twisted faces, I guess, where if you take a human face and you twist it a little bit onto an animal or whatever, it instantly becomes like 50 times scarier, because now there is a more human aspect to it.
Oh, that's interesting. Nice.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to keep firing away with some of the questions that we got so we don't get a huge backlog.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see which one is going to... All right, let's see this. How do you guys find sharing manga? Like, how do you decide who gets to read what?
Okay.
First?
That's actually a really good question. Do you want to take this one?
I mean, I think that some of the things that we like kind of mix.
Yeah.
But I think that we each kind of have like specific ones that we like to read. So like when we go in to buy manga, like we're usually in different sections, like picking up things. And then there'll be a few that like cross over.
Mhm.
And so most of the time though, I'm really excited about the ones that like I've picked up.
Yeah.
So I usually start with those. And then we have to like determine, okay, who's going to read this one first? But I mean, we're just like, yeah, like you read it first. I'll read this one while you read that one. And then I'll get that one. I mean, we're just.
And there's been there's been a few things where like maybe you'll get it and I'll be like, no, that one's fine. You can read that one. But then I'll hear you like laughing about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? What are you reading?
What is it?
What are you laughing at over there?
At?
Like what's so funny about that one?
Just slowly appear, like pop up behind the shoulder. Just looking
yeah,
over.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that? What are you looking at?
And
then I'll be like,
over here.
Can I borrow that when you're done?
Yeah.
I wish it was like we were both just like kicking our feet reading the manga together, but that would just be so difficult.
Yeah,
but I totally
know.
wish that was it.
Just gigantic, like Akira-sized manga. Just sitting
Yeah.
there, just like,
Huge.
you ready?
Exactly.
I'm ready,
That would be
babe.
awesome.
Flip the
I'm
page.
ready.
That would be awesome.
And I think digital is actually going to be a good way for couples to start sharing manga. Because
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah, I
be,
think so.
Do
You
you,
might-
guys mostly pick yours up at the store, or do you guys buy it online?
Mostly at the store, so we can kind of see what it is and look through things. But digital is becoming more and more of like we're like, okay, maybe like pick up some digital
I've
titles.
been interested in looking at getting some digital ones, but as of right now, most of the time we like to go in.
Yeah.
I just like that experience of like going in, and also because I think when you go into a store to look for things, you might be going there for something specific, but then like you stumble across something, you're like, oh, this looks interesting. You've never seen it or heard of it.
Yeah.
And you might pick something that you never would have thought of. So
Totally.
I don't know. That's why I like that experience.
Yeah, I love going to the store. Sometimes you walk in not knowing what you want. Sometimes you walk in when there's a 50% off sale going on at Half Price Books and end up buying the entire box set of Death Note so you can make a video about it. I don't know.
Exactly.
But there's just something so fun about going to the store, and it stinks that some people don't get that. The fact that I have literally 4 Half Price bookstores around me, 3 Barnes & Noble if I chose to go there, and I could discover like 10 different bookstores all in my area is such an amazing gift. It's an opportunity, really. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for all of it. And let's see. Next question. What series are you most interested in right now?
Oh.
Well, I'm reading Waiting for Spring, so I just finished the first one, and like I need to go get the second one because I really like it a lot.
Yeah, I've actually got the reason one I picked up was the Kaiju Girl Carmelise. I've been like super excited about this one because I just think the fact that she like turns into a giant monster when she's like her heart beats a little extra. I think that's so funny and such a unique concept. So I'm really excited about that one. But I'm looking for some like good horror titles.
Yeah.
So if anybody's got good horror recommendations, let us know.
I mean, I got Thriller. That's about the extent of it. Actually, if you want to reach out to Kawaii, she has a vast selection of horror manga for you to choose.
Awesome. Okay, we will do that then.
And you know what? Speaking of kaiju, I want to get your opinion on the newest Godzilla movie.
Okay. Sadly, have not seen it.
What?
I know. I'm so mad about it too. As like a fan, I'm
it makes
angry.
me really sad.
It's so funny too because when the new Godzilla came out, we were actually watching Mothra versus Godzilla downtown.
Yeah, in Little Tokyo.
So we were watching one of the older films.
And we had gone to Kaiju Con.
Yeah, we went to Kaiju Con.
Yeah, and
it was right when Godzilla came out, and so we missed like Godzilla totally because of Kaiju Con and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the adaptations from what I mean, I saw the first one here that we made, and it feels like they're not hitting it exactly, but I heard this one was like steps ahead of the last one. So
okay,
I mean, it looks beautiful, and like I want to see it really bad. We just haven't had a chance.
Yeah. Did you get to see it? What'd you think?
I got to see it. I loved it a heck of a lot. Like, it was so much fun. And honestly, I also have a very different opinion. I thought the first new Godzilla movie wasn't all that bad. Like, everyone was sitting there saying, oh, it's terrible, it's such a character introspective. I was like, okay, cool. They're developing the universe just a little bit to let us get to know the mindset of the people. Yeah. And then when they kept just teasing the Godzilla fight, when you finally got it, you were like, oh, this is what I was hoping for and so much more. Like, I actually, when they did the full Godzilla, like, when he did his first roar, when they were closing the doors, it's like, okay, that's awesome. And then when he had the huge fight against, I mean,
that wasn't even the first one. Like, starting out the movie, they did the Godzilla roar, like, to get you, like, pumped for it.
Yeah.
But just seeing him open his mouth and just go after it was amazing. And then when you finally got to see him fight, literally 3/4 of the way through a Godzilla movie, I was like, okay, this is awesome. But I enjoyed it. But the newest Godzilla movie was steps ahead. The monster fights were so much more ridiculous and over the top even than that other one. And somebody asked me a question, and they're like, so how do you think Kong's going to fight Godzilla? I was like, honestly, after that last scene, he's not going to. It's physically impossible at this point. It's 100%. They've literally ruined any hope of there being a fair fight. I was like, unless you give King Kong a mech suit the size of one of the suits from Pacific Rim, you're done. He's done. You can't do it. I don't care. They're like, his parent, but he can grow like twice as big. And I was like, and yet he's still 5 times smaller than King Kong. Twice as big is only half as tall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
true.
it's grizzly bear versus gorilla at this point, and I hate to tell you, grizzly bears always win.
See, I feel like because I haven't seen the first Godzilla movies either, and I haven't seen Skull Island. So I'm trying to track those down. It's a pain in the butt. But the Kang movie, because at one point they do show like the back of trying to show all the kaiju that are awakened, show the back of King Kong, and you're like, there he is. And no, but I mean, we'll have to get y'all to watch it so we can get your impression of it.
Yeah.
I honestly
we'll
think
definitely check
that
it out.
I honestly think what they will probably do is have it start out as a fight, and there'll probably be at least 3 rounds. One with Godzilla winning, one with King Kong winning, and then the third one, like an unknown enemy comes in, and it's both of them beating up the enemy. Like, because I don't think they're going to be able to sit there and actually pick and say, oh, well, this person won or this person won.
Yeah.
No, they just teamed up together, you know.
And
Yeah, that's probably true.
that's the way that I feel like it's gonna go. But I kind of want somebody to just grab the reins and make it something absolutely ridiculous, like Godzilla is dead, so we get Son of Godzilla instead.
Oh
That would
yeah,
be the better way to go about it. Instead of worrying about making King Kong bigger, let's just make Godzilla smaller.
Smaller.
they hit him with that shrink ray or something.
Just something ridiculous and over the top, like some evil villain has created stolen partial DNA from Godzilla and made Mecha Godzilla. So it's really going to be, you think it's Godzilla, but it's actually Mecha. And so King Kong starts fighting it, and then real Godzilla just pops out of nowhere and just goes, "What's up? It's me," and blows it up.
There you go. I like that. That can work.
Oh man.
That can totally work. And
like,
actually, you mentioned
like
Pacific Rim earlier. That's a guy who could adapt some anime, I think.
Oh yeah.
Guillermo del Toro, I think he could definitely give us some good anime adaptations.
My only concern is he would spend way too much time on the creature creation.
Totally, yeah. Totally.
Actually, if I was gonna give him like free reign over a live action adaptation, I would love to see him do Parasite.
I was just about to say that. Yes, totally.
Like it wouldn't be as much character creation. It wouldn't be as much creature creation, but he would still be able to get this kind of visceral feel.
That body horror.
That body horror, and I think he's great at body horror. Like, even when he's not trying, he's like, "I scared you, didn't I?"
Yeah, the thin man with the eyes.
Oh man, it's terrifying. And I mean, I would love. You know what? I think I know it'll never happen, but I would love to see a Guillermo del Toro directed Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
I mean, we got the little taste of him with superheroes with Hellboy, but he was supposed to do Justice League Dark, and he dropped out of that one after a while because they couldn't, the creative differences there. But man, like a DC or Marvel movie, something like give him more, let him go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think him and like Constantine, like Hellblazer, could totally be awesome also.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be so cool, and that would be actually a great way to do the Dark universe.
Yeah.
Oh man. The DC Dark universe would be amazing. I'm trying to think of what they would call that. The DCDEU. Now we're just getting ridiculous with the mouthfuls.
The Deca Duo.
Do you think there are going to be any future Marvel movies that are inspired by manga or anime?
Oh.
You know, I don't think so, honestly. Not currently. I think they've kind of got this formula that they're going to stick with for a little while. I think especially after they've kind of gotten through the first phase and now we're entering that second phase of stories.
Yeah.
I'm worried that they might start playing it a little safe while they're introducing new heroes.
Kind of gotten a formula down, and I'm like, I don't want them to go too like hardcore on that formula, because I feel like it could start becoming like repetitive and feeling repetitive. So hopefully they do change it up a little bit with the second phase.
Yeah, because I know that even there's some people that really don't like Guardians of the Galaxy and didn't like Thor Ragnarok. I enjoyed them. I thought they were funny. But I know that there's a decent section of the fan base that are kind of like, okay, they started making everything more about the humor and less about the characters or the action. And I don't know that we'll get very many more Thor Ragnaroks for the next few films. Like, I just don't see them taking that big of a risk for the next couple at least.
Until they reestablish the universe with new characters and get
Exactly.
everything going. Because
think
the
we've
reason
got
why
more
Guardians and Ragnarok worked is because characters were established and it was already a profitable thing. Now I think is where we're really going to see if Marvel is as strong as they say that they are, because this is where people will start to get hero fatigue.
Yeah.
We've just gone through a 26 movie, a ridiculous amount of movies, plus TV shows, like world building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're not necessarily starting from zero, but we're starting emotionally from scratch again.
Yeah. No spoilers. Don't worry, we don't ever give spoilers.
Just
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely going to be some hero fatigue that they're
Yeah.
going to have to have to focus on.
Far From Home though was
It was fun.
so good. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
it was absolutely a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Spider-Man's my favorite though, so I feel like I'm biased. So
See,
But
what
yeah,
I was
you nailed it. Totally a Spider-Man movie.
I'm hoping that they'll find a way to do like a Miles Morales Spider-Man, but I'm not sure if they can do that at the same time as Tom Holland unless they do a multiverse.
Yeah. And we'll see. You never
We'll see.
know.
There's
They did just have the Spider-Verse movie come out like last year though.
they did, but that's
Amazing.
I want live action. I want a live action Miles Morales.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
a live action would be cool, but I definitely think that the Spider-Verse needs its props because I mean it was so good. Like if you haven't seen that movie, you really need to see it.
Well, Spider-Verse 2 is about to open up its own cinematic universe too. They've got the second one planned,
But
and then
Tom
they've got
Holland
it all.
did say that he would love to have a Spider-Verse type
Mhm.
like thing happen in his Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So maybe
Well-
they'll listen to him.
We'll see.
Maybe, but Tom Holland also spoils everything.
Everything.
Yeah, so you never
It's like
know.
he doesn't even mean to do it. He's like, "Hey guys, are you excited for Infinity War?" We haven't told him the name yet.
Ugh.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang it.
They just put him with all the older cast now so that they can be like, shush.
Yeah.
they literally do that. Like I think half the time they tell him things that they want him to spoil because they know that he'll accidentally say something. They're like, "You want it?" It's like, "You ready to give Tom Holland the spilling? Let's do it."
Yeah,
He
totally.
didn't even
We're
get,
like
like a lot of the
they're all
scripts.
sitting there.
Yeah. Like they like kept everything.
They're all
from-
sitting there doing their read-throughs.
Yeah.
Sitting there doing their read-throughs. All right, guys, Infinity War. Where's Tom at? Hey, you can let him in the room now. Okay, we've said the name.
Exactly.
He doesn't. He goes to full De Niro. He doesn't bother reading the script anymore because they won't do anything. They just have his lines like a guy holding up the card exclusively for Tom Holland's lines.
Yep. I'll just do it on the day.
I
Yeah.
mean, basically that's what they did. Like he had a script that only had his lines in game.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy. I couldn't imagine having that much information that I have to hold on to for 9
no.
months.
No, there's no way.
Oh,
Ridiculous.
man, right? Do you guys think with the filtering out of the X-Men now moving over to Marvel and everything that we're gonna see like a an Avengers versus X-Men maybe like thing in the future?
I
That
think
would be
so. I
crazy.
mean, I know they've mapped out their cinematic universe until like 2025 or something crazy like
Yeah.
that, maybe even past that. But at that point, they weren't expecting to acquire 20th Century Fox. And so now that they have it, I think there's a really great opportunity to create those stories. And I think maybe in the sense that like, the new Star Wars movie has like its main cinematic universe, but then there's a Star Wars story. I think it might be cool to do some little things like that with the cinematic universe. And I know that they kind of do with like little Spider-Man films or something like that. But I think now's the chance to bring in some of those, like you said, like the X-Men or something like that. I think there's opportunities there. I think it'd be really cool.
See,
Yeah.
my whole theory right now is the next phase will be X-Men versus Avengers, and I think it's actually going to be a multi-universal kind of thing where all because of Scarlet Witch. I'm gonna do my best not to do spoilers here but I think Scarlet Witch is going to be the cause of X-Men versus the Avengers due to her powers. I also think we're going to see some new
I can't
additions.
see that. feel like it's going to be a 30-second cameo with Ryan Reynolds popping in as Deadpool and be, "Hey, Wolverine, come over."
Maybe
Like,
it could
you
be.
just opened a wall between both of us. What did you do, right?
Yeah, and then I think that Namor is actually going to be introduced in the next Black Panther movie
That would be awesome.
because they said, remember how
There's a little hint.
there was
Yeah.
hints. There was a hint. And I was like, is
Yeah.
that leading towards Namor? And somebody's
Yeah,
like, that would be
just
that would be
little baby
ridiculous.
hints. Little
Little
baby
baby hints.
little droplings of hints. But let's get back onto manga because we've
Yeah.
been talking about Marvel,
We
which
went
is
way off.
close. There's MA in there.
Yeah.
And since Shay is here, I'm gonna ask some more of her questions.
Yeah, she's always got great questions.
She has the best questions. I was like, okay, girl, you want to
Yeah.
write my questions for me? Like, you'll be my writer. What series are you most interested in right now? Like, what manga, what anime can you not wait to read?
I think for me, Fire Force is just looking so good.
Mhm.
Like Fire Force looks so interesting. I know the anime just came out, but I haven't heard anything negative about the manga, and it's just such an interesting story.
Mhm,
And I
Fire
really
Force,
haven't seen
I'm
anything that looks
super
like it.
excited
Yeah.
about.
And I'm like a Ray Bradbury Fahrenheit 451 super fan, and I feel like this kind of has like some of the same, like the way they manipulated the fireman's story.
Mm.
And so I'm very interested in that one.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, Fire Force is like on the top of my list as far as anime right now.
Mhm.
Also Astro Lost in Space we just started watching, and I really, really love it. I like cannot wait for the next episodes to come out. Also Fruits Basket.
Yeah, you're in love with
I'm
Fruits
in
Basket
love
right
with
now.
Fruits Basket. So
I'm still waiting on more chapters of Hajime no Ippo, and One Piece. Those are the two that I just have to read every single week. And One Piece is because it's so good. Have you actually seen the panels floating around of Boichi drawing One Piece?
No, I haven't.
no.
So, completely random transition, I know. But Boichi, for those of you that do not know, is the author, it's the illustrator behind Dr. Stone. So he has a very unique art style. Like his art style is actually really, really awesome and I enjoy it. But he started to draw, or somebody started to draw in his style, One Piece panels, and I do not like them. Like, at all.
Interesting.
It sounds really, really weird, but it's because I think certain types of storytelling just go with artwork so well. And an adventure pirates in a world covered by water, I don't think is Boichi's forte.
Yeah. Makes sense. Speaking of Dr. Stone, though, Dr. Stone is actually, I mean, we've only seen the first 2 episodes of the anime,
Yeah.
but man, that show is a blast. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't sure what to expect. Like everybody had told us about the manga and to read
Yeah,
the manga.
everybody was like, you
And
gotta
then
check
we
out the
heard
manga.
the anime was coming out, and so we were like, okay, let's see it. And I wasn't sure of what to expect, but I really like it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. It's decent.
Is it? We're not very far yet, but we've heard
Yeah.
good things.
I mean, you can only hear so many good things before you make your own opinion.
True,
Yeah.
true.
Okay, if each of you were given an unlimited budget,
Yes.
you could get whichever actors you wanted to get. What manga would you make into live action and why? And I want a separate answer from both of you.
Okay.
This can't be a team.
But we work so well as a team.
I know. Sometimes you got to split up the team to get the most interesting answer.
I mean, well, I think like Magical Girl, like Sailor Moon. I mean, but we already are like writing a Magical Girl script. But I would love to actually be able to adapt Sailor Moon over, just because it's been in my life for so long, and it was what like got me into anime, got me into manga, and it's been something that like has inspired me. Like, I mean, since I can remember, I literally cannot remember a time that Sailor Moon has not been in my life. Like that's like how long I've been watching it. So to be able to adapt something like that would be like a dream.
Totally. I have 2, and I'm putting them out into the universe now because it's a goal. It's
I know.
a real goal. I want to make a live action Bubblegum Crisis so bad. and I want to make a live action Gundam trilogy. And I know that Hollywood is working on one, but they're focusing on the giant robots. And Gundam isn't about the Gundams, it's about the war and the people affected by the war. So it would be a down in the dirt story about soldiers with Gundams, you know, also fighting beside them. And that's the film that I really want to make. I can see a 3-part Gundam film. I know how to get there. I just need the budget and the means.
Yeah.
Who would you cast as your lead actors?
That is such a tough question.
Oh my
It would
God, I have
definitely
no
be.
idea.
I would definitely look for the most diverse cast possible
Yeah.
because I think there's so many unique voices that you could put into a Gundam film. I don't know though. There's so many actors that I would love to work with, and I think you could just have a really incredible, diverse ensemble cast with a Gundam film.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
What about you? Who would your sailor
Oh my God,
scouts be?
I have no idea. I have
That would be like
that would be like
We need
it
to
would
do a
be
casting
the
call.
hardest casting ever. I really have no idea.
I mean, I would obviously be Sailor Moon. We know
Yeah,
that.
it would
so-
be Sailor Moon. We've got it figured out.
Yeah.
We just got to go from there.
Is Jin is what Pluto maybe? I don't know.
Pluto.
Maybe. Jin, are you Sailor Pluto? Are you Pluto Sailor?
I
Are you
think
the
I'm
Sailor
more of
Pluto?
like Sailor V. You know,
Sailor
I just
V? That
need
makes sense.
some blonde in there. You know,
Yeah,
then like you can
The
do my
extensions.
my off shot. You know,
we can do
be
it.
like in the main movie he's Sailor Venus, but over here he's Sailor V.
Perfect.
Good
That
Lord.
could work.
Oh, so you get your own side movies too. That's a smart
exactly.
thing because you're like, oh, I'm Sailor Venus, but I'm also Sailor V, so we can have some side movies over here with me.
Yeah.
And then
Cha-ching,
I can
everybody.
make
Cha-ching.
I can make like a cameo in Dustin's movie, and I'll be the guy. Here's your mission, guys, and I'll read it off, and they'll be like, "Is that Tim Graves reading that? Holy crap!"
Could totally work. I can see it.
Jin, what about you? Is there any manga that you would love to try to translate into a live action movie?
Oh man. Oh man. I mean, there's ones that are there, but then it's kind of like, do I get into the CGI battle and say, guys, can you make this CGI like perfect?
Maybe.
Oh man. It's
We
gonna
got
have
all-
more
we got all the
like
budget.
You got
Right.
everything you need.
US CGI. Oh man.
Breaking up a little on my end, Jin.
Say which I would probably say which the ending would have to be a little different to it. Probably Moyo and Roji's BSI.
Okay.
I would say that one with CGI totally taken care of because that one focuses on like yokai and demons and whatnot with a kind of Detective Conan feel to it because they are semi-detectives. I don't know, but I'd have to go with my number one manga as my number one movie too, you know, just because it is more human based, which is Suikoden 3.
All right, respect.
Speaking of Detective Conan, though, how fun would a Detective Conan live action movie be?
Mhm.
I think Detective Conan would probably be one of the easiest transitions to a live action.
Haven't they done it yet?
Why haven't they done that?
No, I don't know.
Right.
I actually think it would make a great TV show, which leads me to my pick. I think that there are certain manga that would make great movies, and I think there are certain manga that would make great TV shows. And I am personally under the impression that iShield 21 has the audience. You make it a Friday Night Lights kind of TV show, you know, because you don't need any fancy CGI. You just need to have people dedicated to getting the shot to look right. It has a diverse cast, and I think it would make a phenomenal TV show. But then you get to grow up with the characters like you do in the manga. You know, each season you do like 2-3 seasons, and you just grow up with them because they do get older, and you're not worried about stuffing 16 football games that take like 12 chapters in the manga, like into 5 minutes. Wouldn't work.
a nice like character-based story. That could be cool. Yeah.
And like I said,
it's a TV show.
I'm still, if anyone's listening who is in the movie production, I'm still hoping for a Harry Potter TV show.
That would actually
be
fun, yeah.
amazing.
Harry Potter is my jam.
Same. Are you playing Wizards Unite?
I don't actually play any mobile games.
Oh no.
I know.
I was hoping I had a friend to add.
I'm sorry. You think I would, but I love Harry Potter. I can tell you basically everything about anything in the books. But I also Fantastic Beasts kind of killed it for me. Kind of killed my excitement because I was like really looking forward to Fantastic Beasts, and then they just beasted it, and I was like, no.
That was my favorite part.
I can't describe why I was disappointed with Fantastic Beasts. I just was.
Really, I liked Fantastic Beasts a lot. I love the whole wizarding world so much. So.
I think it might be one of those things where people who maybe didn't like it, once the whole package is there, maybe it will be better once you can see it all. But I definitely understand the criticism that's coming.
I get the criticism. I think it's hard because with like Harry Potter, we are like already had books as it was coming out, and like with this, there's not like a source material. Like we know some of the history, obviously, but feels not like we don't know everything that could possibly happen. So it's harder, I think.
It isn't, but it also to me it feels like they're changing a lot of what happened in Harry Potter just to try to make things a little bit more popular. I was like,
or trying to connect it
when it doesn't need to be connected. Like, why did Dumbledore suddenly need the help of Newt Scamander to beat, to beat his arch nemesis? I was like, that's not. I was like, Dumbledore was literally so powerful that the only reason why he didn't is because he didn't want his secrets getting out. It wasn't like a.
But they said that.
They do give a reason for that.
Yeah.
I know, but it was just one of those like
spoilers on this too, because I don't know if everyone's.
I know. I'm like, do I tell you or do I not?
It's one of those things that they've.
Spoiler podcast.
I will only say one little thing. Dumbledore made a pact where he couldn't do it.
Yeah, and that like I said, I get that, but it's also adding to the story at a point where why wasn't added to before? I don't know. There is
a history too of them being friends prior to Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah,
but
that whole
is touching on like some of the revisionist history that's being done.
I know. Yeah.
I don't mind adding things on that are cool, but doing revisionist history to me is where I'm like, And they do that in manga sometimes, and I don't like that in manga either.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because like I think it's the aspect that people are like fighting right now of like, does the creator, the person who created the story, have the right to make those changes? For me, I feel like I always lean towards them being able to make changes because it's their story, not technically ours. Like they can change it as they need to adapt it.
It's 100% their story.
Yeah.
Like I'm always for the creator has control. Like they always have control. But why are they changing it?
Yeah, and it's hard when it has such a huge fan base that like already knows the history they've put out and like are so like we're so attached to it. So it's hard when you start having those changes.
My question is, why did you need to add the thing about the bathrooms? Why was that a thing that needed to be
why did we need to know that?
I was like, then how does at that point then how does the Chamber of Secrets work? That shouldn't exist if that's a thing. The Chamber of Secrets should not exist if your bathroom theory is true. I was like, that's
true.
The creator always has control, 100% control behind their creation because it's their world, it's their life, it's their soul, it's their spirit.
Yeah.
But I always just question the intentions. Why are they changing it? Are they changing it to make the story better, or are they changing it so the story stays relevant? And one of those things is fine.
Have the rest of the movies.
Yeah.
One thing though I will say about J.K. Rowling is, like, the creator does have all the rights to their story and everything, but sometimes as a creator, it's okay to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have an answer for every question that comes your way.
I definitely think she tries
to answer
to give
everything.
an answer for everything, and I'm like, just why? Just don't. Just be like, I don't know.
I would totally be that writer that was like, stay tuned, you'll find out later.
Yeah,
exactly.
Instead of
go back
spur of the moment,
go back home and talk to my family and be like, Guys, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this question.
No idea. Someone just asked me this question, and I have no idea.
Guys, they asked me, what do they eat? I have no idea.
Stay tuned for next time.
Stay tuned for next time. Just call up your mom. Mom, hey, it's me. Yeah, I got another question for you. What did I eat as a child?
What did I eat?
Exactly.
Hot dogs. Got it. They ate hot dogs.
Hold on. Let me call my first boyfriend. Hey, what was my favorite candy when we dated?
Yeah, exactly.
We're putting hot dogs and
gummy
worms together. Bam.
But they never have to cook them; they just appear.
They
They
just
just
appear.
appear.
And it's that weird wizard like hot dog where like it moves and you're like, do I
Yeah.
really want to eat that?
Has a unicorn hair in the middle or something.
I mean,
Yeah.
that seems like something. You know what surprises me? I'm surprised that JK hasn't come out with this one yet and just gone. Yeah, Hagrid loves animals so much he was a vegetarian.
Yay! We still have time.
There's still time. I'm hoping that she doesn't do that. I was like, let him die, let him die, let him die, let him die, let him. I love you, Hagrid. Let him die, let him die.
Yeah.
He hated killing animals. Son of a gun. I think that one would be the revisionist thing that I'm the most okay with because I could actually see it happening. Like Hagrid's just like, just think about it. He makes super hard like cakes and cookies, which would imply that there might not be milk in there, which means that he could even be vegan. You know what? New Harry Potter theory.
Harry Potter theory.
Hagrid's vegan.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here.
Just in 5 years, when JK finally tweets about it, you'll be like, I know where I heard that.
Yep.
So we've got like 4 minutes left, and there's so many more things that we need to talk about that we have to talk about. There's just so much. There's just so much fun going on. We've touched on manga, anime, movies.
We've gone all over the place. It's
Yeah,
been
I
a
know.
journey.
It's a never-ending story.
Yeah.
Whoa.
There we go.
Calm down,
Never ending story.
calm down, Dusty Buns. Which works in this case. It's a double.
Dang it.
Well, you know, whenever people ask you the question, what if you were gonna get stranded on a desert island, what book would you take? And I was thinking about it. I said, well, if you could take the never-ending story, the magical one that never ends, sure, that'd be a fun time. But everything is kind of like, yeah, by day 5, I'm done with this. Just throw it.
Stressful.
Too stressful.
War and Peace, the entire collection.
Oh God.
Oh God.
So usually, we have so much more that I want to touch on, but like I said, today we're gonna definitely cut it as close to an hour as we can, just so I can spend time with my father. When it comes to filmmaking equipment,
Yes.
what would you recommend as a starter kit? I'm giving you, $1,000 or less as a starter kit to start your own filmmaking channel, your own YouTube channel. What would you go with?
With the film channel, I would recommend. I am one of those people that I totally believe that focus on your storytelling, focus on what you're saying over gear. But if you want the full opinion on gear, I think get you something like a T5i or something like that. Spend
Oh my
$400
gosh.
to $500.
Exactly what I have.
I mean, it's perfect. It's such a versatile camera.
We used it for a long time.
Yeah, they last for years upon years.
Mm-hmm.
You can drop them in the dirt and they'll be fine. So
Mic.
get you a T5i, get you a little Rode mic so you have good audio because that's really important.
So would you recommend?
Or you can get a lav mic for super cheap and just plug that into your phone.
I have a lab mic that cost me $15.
Yeah, you can literally buy like a 3-pack for like $20 or something like that, and eat them. I don't care, Like
I mean, that sounds weird to eat them, but I'm okay. Okay, you guys are the professionals here.
But yeah, I think get a lav mic, plug it into your phone. Use you even did a video on it. Natural light is
Natural light is
amazing.
your friend always.
If you don't have a window in your room, get you a little softbox for $30-$40.
You can even make a softbox. Remember when we made softboxes?
Yeah.
We've had to do that.
Yeah.
So
But I know a lot of people get wrapped up in the gear, but I really fundamentally believe focus on your story, focus on your personality.
if
know
you
what you're
already
saying.
have an iPhone,
Yeah.
your
And-
iPhone.
Yeah, shoot
Use
with what you
whatever
got.
you can, because if you have a story to tell, just find a way to tell it.
Yeah.
Basically.
And let's say that you want to get better at telling stories. How would you practice telling those stories, or how would you get better at telling those stories?
Getting better at telling those stories, I think it's just repetition.
I was gonna say, just start doing it.
Yeah, take notes. You don't have to be 100% scripted, but just take general notes of what you're gonna say and what points you want to get across. That way, you're not getting lost and you're reducing the ums in your videos and things like that.
Yeah.
And just like I just did, and just keep practicing. Look at yourself in the mirror. Figure out like your gestures and the way that you talk, and just, I mean, it's just practice.
Just practice.
It's really just practice.
And even with like if you're saying like narrative stories, like making short films,
Mhm.
I mean, for us, like we just started making things. Like any little story we could tell. It didn't matter if it was like a full story, if it was just like we had a little idea for a scene, we just did it. And we have like some really old, like very like with my brother and his friends as actors, like just get what you can to start practice is like, it's a craft. Like you always have to practice. So in order to practice, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's like what we did. We just got our friends together and we were like, okay, here's the little script we wrote. This is what you're going to say. We would set up the shots, and they were so, looking back at them, they're so terrible, but like, it's what
just
got us where we are. So it's just practice.
And I think in the sense of like content creation, like things like this podcast, where we're engaging and we're talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in your room and talking to a camera can be so kind of daunting when you first are starting out. But if you can do collaborations where you're talking with other people, or you're engaging with someone else on camera, or through a live stream like this or something, it's so much easier to have a conversation and create good content through that conversation.
Yeah.
So I think collaborations are also a really good resource to just growing as a creator.
Also knowing that it's probably not going to be perfect the first time you do it, and like being okay with that. Like, I mean, I know back when I started like my channel on my own, like I was super nervous to sit down in front of the camera. I wasn't somebody who was in front of the camera ever. We were always behind the camera. And so to sit down in front of it and talk to it, it was like, I couldn't have Dustin around. I was like, you have to leave the room, go put headphones on. You can't even hear me talking. I need to do this. And like now, I mean, I did it. I was a host on a channel for my job. Like I never thought from that point I would get to where I am now, where I'm comfortable talking. I don't have to always write everything I say down, and I can get my point across. And yeah, I mean, I think that knowing that everybody starts there and being okay with it not always being perfect the very first time is a big thing.
Definitely.
All right, that's awesome. This is all good stuff to get started. Just jump in feet first, and hopefully you can learn how to swim before you sink.
Yeah, don't worry about what other people say. Just
definitely don't worry about what
focus on
other
what you're
people say.
doing.
Yeah, 100%. Well, now I guess we're going to end the show as per the normal. So, Jin, we already know what you have coming up for the rest of the week because we asked you on Wednesday. Not much changes in a day and a half. But, you doing okay, Jin?
I mean, I might have gotten some more inspiration to do other things. You never know.
Do you have inspiration to do more things?
Dude, let me just tell you, it's not even like story-based or anything. I'm sitting there like on this. I mean, everybody kind of knows that I'm doing this RPG thing for all of you guys to have fun. And I'm like, now it's not even the story anymore. It's like the math part of it. I'm like, how do I number crunch all this?
Nice.
So
Easy.
I'm like,
calculator.
I have stories running through in my head. I'm like, do I write this down? No, I got it. It's already stuck in there. Yeah, I mean, really, that's about it. I have a couple other ones that are probably gonna come out of the woodwork here and there, just because I have family in town too, so I might do a couple videos based off of that.
I have a busy next 3 weeks. Like, the next 3 weeks are so jam-packed, I'm terrified. All right, what about the dynamic duo, the couple creators? I might have looked at your channel tag so I could say some of these clever things, but trust me, they are clever. I didn't invent them though. So tell everyone where they can find, your, Neon+Nova channel, your individual channels, and what you have coming up next.
Yeah. So We are Neon+Nova pretty much on all the things. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. We're going to start doing like an anime discussion on Saturdays for the summer lineup. That'll be over on our Twitch. We're continuing with the movie podcast and the anime podcast
On YouTube.
on YouTube, and then we're working on some more short films and still pitching this magical girl story. So tell Hollywood
anybody
that a
who wants
magical
that,
girl story
please.
can work because they don't believe that magical girls will sell tickets.
I had an idea for that. So there are some magical girl horror manga that came out. Maybe the horror route, and then get everybody used to it, and then jump into
Yeah.
Sailor Moon.
Full magical girl. Yeah.
So we're just out here pitching stories, trying to make things happen. We got a horror pitch that we're going to be doing very soon that we're very excited about.
Speaking of horror.
So that should be fun. So hopefully you'll see some really cool projects, and until those bigger things work out, we're just making YouTube videos and having fun over on
YouTube and
Neon+Nova.
Twitch is where we pretty much do everything. That's our life.
Yep.
When you guys finally have your red carpet release, just invite me so I can just walk down the red carpet once in my life and go, yep, peaked, everybody.
Hey,
See you later.
me and you can walk down like a couple. We'll look that way.
It'll look
Just
adorable.
Arm in arm.
You know what? Let me sit on your shoulders and let's get a trench coat. We will do one gigantic man in a trench coat.
Oh, there we
my
go.
Nice.
Right?
Never know.
Horrible.
He looks awkwardly tall. Nope.
What? Are
Nope.
we like the Slender Man now?
No, we'd be like the lumpy man because it just look weird. Like you'd be like a 10-foot tall guy with like really, really short arms, real quick shuffling steps. It would look super awkward. They call us the lumpy man. But
I also, because they didn't do it, but you guys should go check out their merch channel too. So
Thanks.
there's a lot of cool stuff. This is actually for a giveaway when I hit 500, and I don't know if anybody can really see it, but I actually have mine. I'm gonna have to turn around and look. Mine's actually right here, hanging on the wall. If anybody ever like sees it behind my head, that's kind of my cameo appearance all the time for Neon and Nova.
Nice. Thank you. We appreciate it.
all right, and thank you guys so much for being on. If you are looking for the Neon+Nova channel, I have it in the description down below. I know you can't see my fingers move sometimes, but they're down below. Thank you guys so much for being on. It was an absolute.
Of course.
It was an absolute blast to get to talk with you, get to know you a little bit better, talk Marvel, manga, anime, why we think that J.K. Rowling is doing revisionist history, all of the good things.
All the things, yeah.
All the things.
So, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on. Jen, I will see you on Wednesday. Dustin, Megan, I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being on. For everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohili, and I will see you next video.